Let's try it again. Happy Monday evening to everyone out there. Hope everyone's having a great start to your week. And if you're tuning into Raw, maybe you should just check us out for the next 30 minutes. You're probably not going to miss much. It is the Going Broadway podcast. Alex and Cole with you this evening. Cole, what's going on?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast ever. And we have a ton of fun stuff to talk and chat about tonight. So hopefully you can join us. And like we always say, we don't care about spoilers here. So if you want to let us know what is happening on Monday Night Raw, feel free to drop it in the comments.
Go for it. Speaking of the comments, let's see who we got on this evening. Andrew, Billy Ray. Oh, it's Cartoon Network champion. We know who that is. Just a blanket. Good evening to one and all. Let's just jump in. There we go. Wanted to cut off the bell, so I let it ring twice. Oh, gosh. Why don't you kick us off? You just start wherever you want to start. I know we talked about a few things that we wanted to chat about as far as the wrestling headlines of the week.
So there's two that really interest me. I want to actually start with this one because I don't think it'll take too long to talk about, but there's a lot of dynamics here. I want to talk about
unpack, if you will.
I want to talk about just a little bit about Rey Mysterio and the move to SmackDown and kind of how they did it and him winning the number one contender match to become number one contender for the IC title against Gunther. I want to get your thoughts. I want to get the those watching's thoughts. I know during the pay-per-view, you had kind of mentioned you're over Rey Mysterio. It's kind of gotten stale. It's, same old with him in a sense. Does this freshen anything up for you? Does this change anything for you? What are your thoughts?
No, I don't know what you can really do with him at this point, in my opinion. I probably would have put 5 guys ahead of him that I would have selected as Gunther's next IC title program, if you will. And I don't know. I don't think you should permanently write him off TV in terms of like, we're going to run this angle and that's going to have to lead to his retirement kind of thing. I don't think you need to do that, but I just think I don't know what else can you do with Rey Mysterio that is going to be interesting, that's going to be intriguing. And I mean, the most intriguing thing he's done recently, in my opinion, was the for those that watched the AAA, the Triple Mania show this past weekend, which is something we didn't even talk about. I mean, we're not going to recap it because we don't watch AAA enough to even really be able to give a valid enough opinion. But I think he kicked off the event with a welcome / thank you video. I don't know the context of what all was said, but what else has he done that's been interesting in the last, I don't know, 5 years? Maybe that's an exaggerated time period, but I don't know. And you guys that are watching, listening, you're always welcome to share your opinions, because I'm interested as well as to what you guys think. And I mean, I agree with our buddy Mr. Tilly, Cartoon Network champion. I think it's time for him to hang up the boots soon. I mean, he's been doing this for, it's got to be 30 years almost, I would think. I got to look it up real quick. But
I think it's only because didn't they just do like a celebration for him not too long ago for 25, 20?
Maybe. I mean, I know he's been wrestling since the early 90s. I'm looking it up. So he made his wrestling debut in 1989 when he was 14 years old. Maybe he has been in pro wrestling. Yeah. He has been in pro wrestling for what's the math on that? 33 years. I mean, wow. So,
and been, not looked like he's missed a beat. Let's just put it that way. Like he's been able to adapt.
He did have a good match with Ricochet. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's we've seen it before, you know, and I don't
Right.
know, that or not with Ricochet. That was
There was a fatal
the
four,
fatal
and
four way. That
Ricochet
was
was
the
in it.
yeah. Um, but I don't know, and I'm struggling to say this because I have no reason to hate on Rey Mysterio at all. I just, in terms of answering your question, I don't know what else you can do with him at this point that hasn't already been done that's going to entertain the audience with something new, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I don't like the IC title program. I think it would actually be really dumb if you have Mysterio win it off Gunter, if that's your guy. And look, I just I get Andrew's sentiment. I'm sure he is. I mean, he seems like a really cool dude. I just, anything that WWE does with him, I've probably seen it, and I don't need to see it again.
I do agree with you that outside of something drastic that they could do with him, we've seen the Giant versus the David and Goliath story enough, specifically with Rey Mysterio. Like they've ran that angle enough. I was liking to it was starting to get stale, which maybe is why they pulled the trigger to do something different. I was liking the Dom Rey Mysterio stuff because I it was helping Dom. I think it overall you're helping Dom get over as a heel by doing that. And obviously for Ray, anything he can do to help get his son over so he can have just as long of a career, 30 something year long career like his father. If I can set you up for success like that, let me do that.
Yeah.
Um obviously I think it was going stale, which is why they pulled the trigger on moving him. And um I'm wondering if they like legitimately he does not want to wrestle his son in this angle. Like, they that's been the storyline is like he's not gonna do that to his son. I'm wondering if there really is some backstage like pushback on like, hey guys, I've been doing this for y'all for a long time. I'm just asking y'all, I don't want to wrestle my son in this angle. I don't want to do a father son storyline type career thing, type stuff. Like I don't want to do it. So they
which
moved
actually
this.
would be really. I understand the sentiment, but like you said, it could only help Dom to be in the storyline with his father. It's only going to help him get over further. And it's almost like, again, I get the sentiment as a father myself, but at the same time, if you're wanting to help your son get over, which, guys, if you're a fan of Dominic Mysterio, great for you. He needs all the help he can get with getting over, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying his in-ring ability is bad. It's not great. It could use work, but
He's
at the
middle of
same
the
time,
pack at best.
yeah, I think at the same time though, like this, I was never on board with the whole him being with Judgment Day, and I don't know. Not to get off topic, I've never really been on board with Dom in WWE. Period. So that's
I think we could all agree he would have definitely benefited more from going through NXT and seeing what could have been made and developed there. I do think that they missed a huge opportunity to do something, like a mask on the pole match with him and Ray, or a ladder match of some sorts, career versus contract, something along those lines, to spice up the story. But
and I feel like that would be a good way to maybe, write off Ray into retirement, is that his son is
sure,
the one that retires him, but don't have it be like Dom is in this Judgment Day stable
you could
and
do it face for face, right? Kind of like how they did Shawn and Ric Flair.
you could. I mean, you could still somehow have like a going into like a face versus heel dynamic, Dominic playing the heel, but then like at the end of the match, have that real moment where, you know, lay kayfabe aside, and they have their moment in the ring, and Ray gets his flowers, his send off, etc., so to speak, and then do whatever you want with Dom after that. But back to the
What?
Ray Mysterio discussion, I just I, like like I said, I'm just going in circles. We've seen it already. And
So
someone said earlier someone said that here it is, turning Ray a heel. I don't think that's the route you go.
I don't, because of, I hate to say it but because he's Rey Mysterio, he just doesn't fit as part of really any of those factions. The only faction he really fits would be Legado del Fantasma, not because he's Latino, but because they do the mask, the luchador mask as well, coming out to
Well,
the
no, I
ring.
mean you can say it's because they are Latino. I don't think that's a racist statement at all because
I'm
it's
just saying, I'm not saying he couldn't be in Judgment Day because he's more Latino and whatnot as the reason, right? Like, I think
I
that
see what you're saying. Okay.
it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doesn't make sense though to have him in that group. Period. I actually am intrigued if he's not done yet and he's got some things. I wouldn't mind seeing him in a program against Legado del Fantasma and him and why am I blanking on his name right now? The leader of Santos Escobar,
Yeah.
like doing some, maybe bringing some of the Latino heritage to life on WWE TV, some of the lucha libre type stuff back to life on WWE TV. I think that would be really cool, especially on SmackDown. So I think there are some options as long as he stays and steers clear of the title pictures and things like that. I'm kind of okay, especially if they are also to move him down to more of a part-time schedule. Make Rey Mysterio get him off TV enough to where when he makes his appearance back, it's a pop and people care about it because I think he has that potential if he was off TV long enough and he made it, he made his appearances for Crown Jewel, he made his appearances for Royal Rumble, for WrestleMania, kind of did that. But I don't know if I don't think I mind that he's going up against Gunter if it's going to mean that he's someone that's fed to Gunter because I think they're probably going to have their match at Crown Jewel. I would only assume it's a way to get the IC title on the card and have what feels like a bitch for Saudi with Rey Mysterio being on the card. And so, yeah, I just was curious because it was a curveball. It wasn't a curveball. It was a curveball I wasn't expecting because when he showed up and he said, "I'm done. I'm quitting," I was like, "Oh, this is how they're gonna like write him off like this."
Well, and
And
here's something else we're failing to mention is he was Cross's replacement in the match, was he not?
yeah, they did the carrying across angle at the beginning where him and Drew are gonna obviously continue their feud.
And this is another conversation, but I wonder if that was just planned all along or if something happened and they had to figure out a way to change gears because that just seems like it seemed a really awkward way to I don't know. You'd almost want Cross still in the match, but then like if you had Drew somehow not cost him the match in the sense that he would take the pinfall, but just you
Attack
know,
him and take him out of the match.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Which
I don't know.
I don't know out of the other people that were in the match though, who you have. I don't want to see Sheamus again. As good as the matches were, I don't want to see Sheamus if you're going to keep having him lose to Gunter. I don't want to see Ricochet again because you had him get utterly destroyed to
Mhm.
lose the IC title. And the other one was who? I don't remember
I'm drawing a blank too.
who the other person in the
Help us
match
out,
was.
guys. If you guys are watching, who was the other guy in that match?
Ray
Ray,
and
Ricochet.
Sheamus, and I'm
Oh,
blinking. Solo
Sokoa.
Sikoa. Actually I thought they were gonna pull on this, and this would be the only person I would be okay with winning it off of Gunther was Solo. And that's because if they're gonna put a hierarchy or a high, get the story to the point it needs to be at by WrestleMania, I think they need to put a title on Solo. I built up both and Gunter with the titles finally, and that they're making them special. But I think that would have been a better feel. Maybe they're saving that match for a little bit further down the road. I'm not sure, but I don't know who else you could have put it on. So I don't know. Overall, I'm not a. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not opposed to them moving him to SmackDown as long as it means long term they're not going to try to push him as one of their top like 10 or top 5 guys that they're pushing in singles. Like, let him feud with like a Legado del Fantasma. Let him, maybe pick up a new tag partner or something along those lines.
Right.
Um,
And guys, stick around. We're gonna circle back to this topic a little bit during a segment we're gonna debut called Fan Interaction, and that segment's actually coming up next. So stick around for a few minutes. But as far as off the top, what other topics did we discuss? I know we mentioned the Bray Wyatt.
yeah, let's touch on that for a second.
Okay.
Let's tackle it. So Bray Wyatt, really, I'm gonna say like this: Wyndham Rotunda came out
Mm-hmm.
and gave a promo this past Friday night because that's what it felt like. It was a very, very heartfelt. Probably the first time we've gotten a promo from him that didn't feel so kayfabed, right? Like it didn't feel so rehearsed or well prepared sentences like
It
he
didn't
would
feel like a
normally.
production.
Right. But actually, and I didn't get a chance to message you back. I was trying to send you a link on Sunday of something that I've already kind of pitched, but somebody kind of broke it down a little bit more elaborate than me.
Okay.
That the Wyatt Six is not a stable. The Wyatt Six is actually 6 personalities of Bray.
Okay.
And that they were explaining that each character that was on Firefly Funhouse was actually one of Bray's personalities, and that technically all of them are still alive. And he pointed out some things. He pointed out that for Huskers, the pig or whatever, went during the promo or the return. And I haven't gone back to look, but the shirt that he was wearing was his NXT shirt, the shirt that
Okay.
was worn when he was Husky Harris in NXT.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Husky Harris never died. There was no storyline, nothing that Husky ever died. So Husky Harris still technically would be a personality that's alive within Bray Wyatt. That was one. They said Ramblin' Rabbit was actually Wyndham Rotunda because in a lot of the promos, especially during Firefly Funhouse, they always were saying he talks too much and that he was always rambling, and that would be Wyndham in his own mind trying to be normal and having all these other people telling him he talks too much and always getting destroyed and shut down and all of those things. The Fiend is obviously the Fiend. They said that Abigail was Bray Wyatt, the sister Abigail version of Bray Wyatt, and the reason why she's all burnt and um, disfigured is because, and Brian Griffin says it right here, because Randy Orton burned the sister Abigail thing in that match. Therefore, that's why she looked the way that she looked. And then he also mentions the buzzard, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but he had an elaborate description, and there were a lot of context clues that matched what this article was saying. And I kind of had said this the same way. What if we're overthinking the whole Wyatt Six thing, and it's not a faction at all? What if it's not all these people getting signed to be in a faction? I still think they'll have a faction, but what if it's not someone's Huskers the pig? What if someone's Mercy the buzzard? What if he just puts a new Wyatt family together and he also has multi-personality disorder and can interchange and jump? Because one, that's money for WWE. I love that they've done that with Finn Balor over the years, and they've brought the demon character out when they really wanted to sell some tickets. You can do that with the Fiend. You can do that with the changing of gimmicks. And I kind of mentioned maybe he's doing something along the lines of Hardy had talked about, having all these different personalities that he can kind of jump through, and from literally from SmackDown to SmackDown. We're not just talking about like he leaves, he's off TV, he comes back, and he's this character. We're talking from show to show. He could be something. So, just want to get your thoughts on how you're feeling now that we've seen two. Obviously during the promo, the White Rabbit came on the screen. So the idea is that he's not the White Rabbit right now to some people. But your thoughts on the promo, your thoughts on kind of where they're headed now with him. They said that he's going to be just on SmackDown now, but we've seen a little bit more since the return. Your thoughts on everything?
Actually, no thoughts as far as anything new in terms of the storyline and where they're going to go or where they could possibly go, because I feel like we tackled that pretty hard last week. So if you guys are interested in our thoughts or my thoughts in particular on that, go watch last week's podcast. As far as the promo goes, though, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a great way to bring him back from the standpoint of he had real things going on, or he had things going on in his life that were real, that bringing him back to wrestling, you can't ignore, because it was those personal things were part of the reason he stayed away from wrestling.
Right.
So it's good that they addressed it. And I think it's brilliant in the way that they've kind of integrated that into this storyline, because I agree. I think that whether or not, this Wyatt 6 is a faction, or if it's, one of his personalities or characters or whatever, I think I agree from the perspective that he's going to have multiple characters or multiple personalities, whether it's, the Wyatt 6, or if he has 6 personalities, or if he has 2, 3, whatever. I don't think that version of Wyndham Rotunda that we saw this past Friday on SmackDown is going to be his one and only character. And I don't think it makes sense for that to be a standalone character. I think you need him to have different characters, different personalities, if you will. And so I thought that the way that they being WWE, Bray, creative, whoever was in on it, putting their heads together, maybe it was just Bray himself, I don't know. The way the promo was delivered, the way it was received by the people live in the crowd, and then transitioning to that video, whatever it was, and that's how you ended the program, I thought was perfect, because wrestling has missed cliffhangers like that over the years that make you want to tune back in the next week and watch what's going to happen next.
Yeah, the cliffhangers are what's getting me every week. They had that little promo on Raw. I love that they're bringing back the little things like during a match or a segment where it's just a little thing that happens, little glitch, a little tidbit thing that's happening throughout the show. Overall, I'm loving it, but just wanted to get thoughts, because they've tried to do stuff like this before with other characters, right? Like having someone kind of be normal and then having, a darker side. Someone just mentioned the Chris Parks Abyss thing in TNA. You've seen them try to do it with Kane when he was corporate Kane, and being able to switch to the darker Kane. We've seen them try to do this before. And so I think Bray's the perfect guy to really explore this multiple personality type gimmick. And I'm just interested to see what they do. Let me ask you this before we transition. Who is his first target? Where do you think they go on SmackDown with him?
That was something I was going to say for our fan interaction, actually.
Well, let's transition then.
So, hang on. Before we get there, I want to address two things. So Jeremy, appreciate it. You can actually get close to that design on our Pro Wrestling Tees store. They were very adamant about not using the lion, and I think that's kind of silly, because whatever. So you can get close to that watermark, whatever you want to call it, up on the right hand portion of your screen. You can get close to that on a shirt, on our Pro Wrestling Tee shop, and we'll tell you more about that in the podcast. The other thing we were going to talk about was not really a huge surprise, Renee Paquette debuting on AEW. I think it was really dumb, though, how they announced it ahead of time on Twitter. Like, they should have just...
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. They announced it like an hour and a half before, Dynamite went live. and I don't understand why. Like, I mean, it made zero sense to me. I mean, they should have not said anything, and then from then on, just do how they did it. Like, um, oh gosh, brain lapse. Excalibur, welcome everybody to the live show, and imagine what would happen if Excalibur just says, and we welcome in the newest member to AEW, and then she walked out, and the people, it wouldn't have. I don't think it would have changed the reaction much live, but for people watching at home, it would have been like, whoa, okay, you know. And look, I get Chris's sentiment. I understand she's just an announcer, but guys, it's Renee Paquette. I mean, I would say she's been the biggest get for AEW since, I don't know, who would you say? What was the last big get for AEW that you felt like that? Let's compare it this way. If AEW didn't announce Renee ahead of time and then she just debuted, what would you have compared that to as far as AEW, when it felt like AEW had a big last get, if you will?
So my thing with her is that she has name value and she runs a very successful wrestling podcast.
Right.
Like, so you're not just signing, like a Josh Matthews, someone who just worked for WWE at one point or another.
Right.
Renee was on also there. What was that show they did on Fox? Was it Talking Smack that they did, or they had some like WWE show that was on Fox that was not necessarily, because CM Punk was
Yeah.
contracted by Fox
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
or
The
FS1.
show that everybody from that show is now with AEW. So you
Yeah.
had
Was it FS1 or
it was Fox, I think. I mean, FS1, I guess technically is Fox, but I mean, you had Renee, you had Punk, you had Paige or Soraya was on there. Wasn't Samoa Joe a host?
for a while? Yeah, I think I would put her up there with like the signing of like a Mark Henry or the Big Show, William Regal.
See, Regal is who I was thinking, and then Jeremy posted it as well. Regal was who I was going to compare it to.
Somebody who can add maybe a Vicky Guerrero, someone who just like they add some kind of value to the show that's not necessarily wrestling. I'm not like thrilled about it. It's not something that just like, wow, I kind of am of that mindset of it was kind of a desperate pop. John Moxley just did an interview not too long ago saying that he was actually supposed to be off TV.
Thank you, Andrew.
For 6 to 8 weeks until the stuff happened at the
Cole, did we lose you?
feud with somebody. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Am I okay?
Yeah, you're good.
It froze. So I think that John Mox was supposed to be written off TV for like 6 to 8 weeks before the media scrum happened. So I'm almost curious if this debut was even supposed to happen this soon.
Probably
or
not.
If they had it prolonged for another time, and that they just kind of threw it out there because now they can, because he's not taking that 6 to 8 week vacation.
It's gonna be a while before he takes
vacation. If it were me, I wouldn't announced it on Twitter, and I wouldn't have had her just walk out to the crowd either. I would have had John Moxley backstage talking or getting ready to be interviewed by somebody, and then she walks up and says, "I'll take it from here," and just like let it be like an out of nowhere type of thing that you didn't even know was going to happen. And
You're freezing up on us again.
The intangibles, because they're married, so you can kind of the eye contact, all that stuff. I wouldn't have even announced it. I wouldn't have had her just walk out and wave at the crowd. I would have had her just do her first interview and get the pop. But either way, I think it's a weak attempt to try to make it look like you still have people signing with you. I mean, when we're starting to have announcers / interviewers be the thing we're popping for in a wrestling company, I think it's starting to get a little out of hand.
There's a lot of stuff that's out of hand with AEW, and that's a whole
True.
nother soapbox that, I mean, I don't even want to go down, but it's like, let's put it this way. I won't say who it is. I mean, you guys can Google it if you want. We're not about spreading drama here, whether it's, you know, we're not about drama, but I do want to say this. When a fairly controversial figure in his own right in the world of wrestling is saying that stuff is getting out of hand with AEW, stuff is getting out of hand. So
True.
I'll just leave it at that. I'm really excited to debut this segment. So guys, this is where it's kind of the opposite of fan mail. So with fan mail, you guys ask us questions. Cole and I are going to ask you guys questions. You guys give us your answer, and we'll just throw your answer up on the screen, and we'll discuss. We'll interact. That's why it's called fan interaction. Before I do that, I'm going to switch our little ticker thing. We scroll our social media platforms individually across the bottom of your screen throughout the duration of the podcast. So
we were gonna lead in with one here. You said that you had one you wanted to share from
yeah,
what
yeah.
we were just talking about. So
circling back to our conversation earlier, my first question to Cole as well as to you guys watching: who should be the guy that ultimately takes the IC title off Gunther?
I kind of gave away my answer earlier. I really do think it should be Solo Sikoa. And I don't think it should be super soon. I think I read that they canceled.
What's that? You kind of cut out. You froze
the
up again.
pay-per-view day one that got canceled, right?
Yeah, supposedly, and I think somebody posted this on our one of our Discord chat threads, but I think they don't want the competition with college bowl season, which makes complete sense. I think if you're going to run a pay-per-view, again, I'm never calling it a premium live event. They're always going to be pay-per-views to me. If you're going to run a pay-per-view in between Survivor Series and in the Royal Rumble, don't have it on January 1st. Don't have it during college bowl season. Have it, if you want to wait until bowl season's over, now that'd be too close to the Rumble. I really think you need to do it like, do it shortly before or shortly after Christmas. I know that puts wrestlers in kind of an odd predicament with holidays and family time and things like that, but it's the wrestling business. It's always been that way. You would always, at least not always, back in the day, I should have prefaced with that. Back in the day, you would have wrestling events that would be an activity that the family would go to, and it would actually be on the holiday itself, on Thanksgiving night, Christmas night, Christmas Eve night. That would be something that would be an annual thing, at least with the NWA. Bring something like that back. If you want to have a pay-per-view in between Survivor Series and in the Royal Rumble, do it in late December, but anyway, I digress. So
I think I
say
would say
Solo.
Solo somewhere around maybe Road to WrestleMania season. Maybe it's Royal Rumble. Just to give them that Road to WrestleMania rub for the bloodline leading up to whatever is going to take place big at WrestleMania. So I say Solo.
Yeah. And see, I kind of share Brian Griffin's sentiment. I know that they do Starrcade already, but it's more of like they don't broadcast it, and it's not the same thing, but they need to make it the same thing. Even if you have it as, it's obviously going to be WWE Starrcade, but have it to where it is one of your pay-per-view events. It's one of your big pay-per-views throughout the year. Not big in the sense of Survivor Series, Mania, etc., but I'm saying that it is one of your annual events that is on your schedule every year, and have it in late December. You know,
Could they not bring back like a tribute to the troops kind of thing at least? Something they used to do that around that time.
I know. I always thought that was, and I don't say this to sound disrespectful at all. I mean, I support our military 100%. I appreciate what WWE was attempting to do. I appreciate the sentiment, but I always thought the tribute to the troops event itself, in terms of the matches and whatnot, was kind of a joke. I mean, they didn't.
We're talking new leadership though. Now we're talking Triple H in charge,
right?
If
But
we were to actually make it feel special,
I mean, I
a
guess you
bigger show.
could, but I would want it to be something that, it forward storylines. It's not just thrown together matches and such. But what I'm getting at with Starrcade is, I know that they've had it before, but it's been like a specific, like especially titled live event, but that wasn't like it wasn't a pay-per-view. I mean, it might have been on the network, but it wasn't promoted as this pay-per-view. It was just, a one-time thing that they brought back, or maybe they brought it back twice. I don't know, but have it be your event that every year, it's in between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. It's going to appeal to the old school fans, and it would be a solid bridge between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. So, that being said,
let's take a look at some of the fans' answers here. I believe this is supposed to be
Brock Breaker.
Braun Breaker. But I like it. Could be a good answer. They've not faced off. If I'm not mistaken. Sheamus or Butch. I would have liked him to go ahead and done it with Sheamus, to be completely honest. Sami Zayn, unless they want him to face Roman, could be good. I think it should be Sami with help from Solo. Did I miss anybody else's? I don't think I did.
I think that was everything. So here's mine, and somebody did mention it. I think it should be Braun Breaker, and not only that, it should be his very first match on the main roster. You don't even announce it ahead of time. Don't promote it. It can't be anytime soon. It needs to be a situation where keep wanting to call him Walter. Gunther continues to have match after match after match after match that just, you want to see his next match, but you also want to get to the point where I really want to see this guy lose. I really want to see him lose the belt.
Could we say night after WrestleMania?
Well, I mean, I guess that would be a good, timing wise, that'd be a good time to do it. But I was almost thinking have it be like so if you guys remember the old, like the Taboo Tuesday pay-per-views, or what else were they called at one point?
You talking about like where the fans got the vote, or
yeah. So basically,
Cyber Sundays or
Cyber Sunday. That's what I was trying to think of. So do a situation where you have the fans vote on who his opponent's going to be. Now, don't have it be rigged. Have it be legitimate. But B, you give him two options, or you give the fans two options that are, ideally it would be two guys that would be potential challengers, but the fans would ideally vote for the third, which would be a mystery opponent. Fans would vote for the mystery opponent. Braun Breaker comes out. Have an actual match. Don't do it, don't do a quick roll up or anything like that. Don't do anything that's fluky, but have it be like an actual hard hitting match like Gunther's matches all are. That's how you propel Braun Breaker even further, bring him up to the main roster, and he's off to the races with his push. You're not going to have to worry about, at that point, him losing any momentum or anything like that. So
for sure. No, I like it. You had another one. Go ahead and give him another one.
Okay. So I was looking at something earlier, and I was intrigued by someone's thought last week with, WWE needs trios championships or 6-man championships. And at face value or on paper or whatever, I was just like, no, I don't think so. But then I got to thinking about all of the potential trios groups that are in WWE right now. So we mentioned Legado del Fantasma.
Yep.
Any combination of the bloodline. I mean, probably Usos and Solo, or Usos and Sammy, whatever. You've got Sheamus, Butch, and
Ridge Holland.
Holland, yeah. You've
Judgment
got
Day.
you've got Judgment Day, you've got Imperium, we got the OC now.
Yep.
We've got eventually, whenever ideally, hopefully he gets healthy enough, you've got New Day.
Yep. I think you could easily put something together for Hit Row.
Hit Row. You could figure out something with them.
A third member.
Who else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing like 2 other groups at least.
I mean, you could include NXT in this too, honestly.
That's what I'm trying to.
And they haven't broken them up, so you could technically do Diamond Mine with the Creed brothers and Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like there's options of putting things together too. Like Alpha Academy, you could easily throw Shelton Benjamin in with them just from that standpoint. You could also reestablish the Hurt Business if you were to ever have Bobby Lashley drop the United States. You could do him with Shelton and Cedric. So I mean, there are some other obviously options that are out there.
Well, so I'll get to my question. If WWE did bring in a 6-man championship or a trios championship, whatever, if you were the one booking, who would you put it on? But not just who. I want a why. Why would you put it on them?
I think for me personally, it would have to be the New. Just because they, over the past, I'll say decade in WWE, they've been the most consistent tag team. No matter what parts you put together, because it's not just been Kofi and Big E, it's been Kofi and Xavier, it's been Xavier and Big E. They're the only 3-man team that I've seen be able to interchange their members and it not really miss a beat. And legacy wise, it's kind of how I felt when we start talking, in AEW, when you started talking about inaugural champions for everything. I really would want it to be a team that was very established, that for a fact can carry it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think the New Day is the most established, all healthy. Big E, you got that big man mentality. You got 2 world champions in that group. Xavier, great mouthpiece as well. The gimmick's over. They sell shirts. It's a great way to put titles on them, to give them something to run with. And they work well with a lot of the other tag teams. So you have some rivalries off the jump that are going to be entertaining off the jump, and I think that's what worked with AEW. He was entertaining off the jump. You didn't have to worry about are these storylines going to work or not. Didn't really matter who he was going up against. He made it entertaining the entire time. And I think that's something that New Day brings to the table. I don't know if there's really 2 other teams that even comes to my mind that would be able to come close to what New Day could bring value-wise as the inaugural champions.
Okay, so New Day was going to be my answer as well. But let's throw New Day out for purposes of, let's say they bring in the trios championships, but Big E is not quite healthy yet. Okay. Then who do you go to?
Now that's where you get the power struggle for me, because there's a few different ways that you could go about doing this. If we're saying they're introduced ASAP, I would say put it on the bloodline. It's the most relevant thing on TV right now.
Okay.
As far as wrestling goes. We're saying, hey, it's going to be introduced. Let's give it some time, though. I actually wouldn't mind exploring AJ Styles and the Good Brothers doing the club thing, just because, one, it's AJ Styles. You're still established there. The Good Brothers, they're veterans. They know what they're doing, and you can really capitalize on the whole club type thing. As much as I'd love to put it on a Legado del Fantasma, an Imperium, the Creed brothers, and Roderick Strong, like guys who I know they have the talent to do it. I think I like the idea of them being a chaser than a title holder off the jump. I think that the first title, the first person to hold something like that needs to be someone that you know can carry the weight. And
Agreed.
we've just seen so many times where championships, they go down in value because the chase was awesome, but then the aftermath wasn't really the greatest. And we've said that about Big E when he became world champion. It got really stale. The chase was great, but what happened? And yeah, bad booking, all that stuff plays a
Yeah.
role. I've seen that so many times where, like, you could say that about Ricochet's North American title run. The chase was awesome. Once you get it, what do I do now? Like, I don't. There's nothing special here, and
Well,
so
and
you would
that's,
really want it.
as I say, that's why that, even going back in the history of wrestling, that's why, whenever Dusty Rhodes won the NWA World Championship, once he won it, he didn't have it for more than probably 2 months, because it's not that it got stale. It's just you didn't have the fans. You didn't have anything for the fans to cheer for, because, okay, he's got the championship. Now what? The chase is what it's about. So, um, I think I'm going to agree with you in terms of, if it's not New Day, put it on the OC, and then you could set up a scenario to where, if you wanted to have a tournament or whatever, ultimately you'd have the OC against Judgment. OC against the Bloodline to determine the champions, but you would actually have Roman Reigns involved in the match, and you would actually have AJ Styles get the pinfall over Roman, which would set up. This is given, if Roman is still champion at the time,
Right.
this is how I would book it. Roman would still be champion at the time. AJ actually gets the pin over Roman. OC becomes 6-man trios champions, whatever. But then it also set up a championship opportunity for AJ.
Yep.
Not saying he'd be the one to dethrone Roman. I'd actually go as far to say he wouldn't be, but you'd have a program built within a program. So
Now listen, I'm looking at some of the answers here. I get what you're saying here, but the OC can be bad guys too. They were heels before they left the company the first time. So, don't rule out just because they're playing a face right now, that it can't. I don't know if that even popped up because it is frozen on my screen now. But so
yeah,
I'm trying to read here. So we've seen. Let's see. You might have to throw some of these.
that's fine. I can. I'll just. I don't know about that. Judgment Day, just for Balor being the first Universal Champion. I guess that's indicating he'd be one of the first trios champions.
Form a group
I mean,
around Riddle. Huh. I'd be interested to see who you could put in a group.
I mean, if Orton comes back, I mean, you've got Riddle, you've got Orton.
That's already an awkward team, though. Like,
well,
it worked. It worked, but like, who do you try to center around?
What about like? I mean, it'd be thrown together, but what about Riddle, Gargano, and KO?
I just think Riddle has to be on his own.
I agree.
Now that I've seen it, I don't know if I could even think of a team that would make absolute sense for run. A one-off is one thing, but
let's go to another question. What do you got? We'll do one or two more.
All right. Well, we've already mentioned it. I would love to hear, because I think this could get a lot of different answers. Who is the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns? Who is who if you had to today make a pick, they have to be currently in the company. If it's a part-timer, that's fine, but they have to be someone who's currently working with WWE in some form or fashion. Who is the guy that that beats Roman Reigns, and I want to know when. I want to know when does it happen?
My scenario is this, and hear me out. A lot of this is dependent upon very heavy rumors / speculation. None of which, if I even know if it's true or not. But, and we got people saying it already. I think it needs to be Cody at Mania, but then Cody wins it, and then you have some kind of, trying to set the stage, so to speak. Lights go out, whatever. No, I'm not going to say anything about Bray. Not going to say anything about Bray Wyatt, Fiend, whatever. You have some kind of music hit that is very similar to what he has now, and you have Kenny Omega make his AEW debut. I'm sorry, his WWE debut. Have you seen the rumors on Twitter?
I mean, I've heard that there's been conversations. What's the current
From
statement?
what? So really the rumor started because, with Kenny being suspended, it was his birthday, and usually AEW and or Tony Khan will wish, happy birthday or whatever to anyone and everyone on the roster, but it didn't happen with him. That combined with they didn't allow him to do a video package for Triple Mania because of the situation with being suspended, legal, blah blah blah, whatever. Not to mention just everything being held up. No one's saying anything because no one knows anything. Allegedly, everyone involved in the scrum doesn't even know what's happening. They've not been given any sort of update.
Okay. So you're
But
saying Cody
wins, but then you have Kenny Omega make his WWE debut. And Andrew, I respect everyone's opinions, but I hate you. I'm just kidding, man.
So I wouldn't mind seeing.
Shout out to Andrew too. I mean, he's a big supporter of our podcast, so he's entitled to say whatever he wants whenever he wants. So,
I'm not opposed to seeing Kenny in WWE because they might use him correctly.
I think he'd be a similar get similar treatment that AJ has.
Like, to an extent, you now that Triple H is in charge, the guys that really want to progress their careers, they did well in the indies, but they really want to take it up a notch. Your Young Bucks, your Kenny Omega. I would love to see Adam Cole back in WWE at some point. I'd love to see him back. Hope that he gets better, but there's just certain guys, certain names, certain talents. They're great on the indies, but I'd love to see them get their time to shine under the WWE banner. So, but
Andrew, if we're gonna make that happen, we gotta get that scheduled before the end of this month. Andrew's one of our patrons, and if you're a gold or platinum patron, you get to be on a podcast with us. So, anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So my real short and sweet. I actually think, and I've said this before, I'm going to stick with it. My guy to beat Roman is Sami, and I said after Mania though. I think.
Hold on, you kind of cut out and froze. Go back, start over. Say it again.
I'm still going with Sami Zayn as the guy that beats Roman Reigns.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's after Mania. I think what I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see Roman, because they're starting to tease it in interviews now. I think we are going to get Roman versus at WrestleMania night 2, and I don't think it's going to be a title match. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be just for who's the head of the table, because The Rock doesn't want to be in WWE long term. He doesn't have the schedule for it, and let's be real, you can't have The Rock lose. I just don't see it happening. What I could see happening is Sami Zayn costing Roman the match against The Rock, whether it be looking like it was on purpose or accident. However you want to write that storyline is fine. But I'd love to see Sami over these next few months. You're already seeing it teased with Jey Uso. really start to kind of tear into the family from inside and starts to create these dividers, and this trust has been built, and then it sets up for Sammy to really wiggle his way in to the point that when it comes time for him to beat Roman, he is the master strategist. He has, Kevin Owens in his corner, and he's got, all these people that will help him be the guy that dethrones Roman, and you give Sammy his first big title win on what was a great story written over a long period of time to have Roman lose it. So I'll say SummerSlam of next year.
Wow, that's a long time to still be champion. Two issues I have with that. I actually think it's going to be KO and Sammy that will win the tag belts off the Usos at some point. I just think there's too much of a story there that it kind of just writes itself. The other thing I was going to say is I actually don't think we're going to see Rock and Roman this year. I think it's going to be, they'll plant the seeds for it, but they might spend a year building it. I mean, they might plant the seeds for it at Mania this year, but save it till the following year because it's WrestleMania 40. It's a round even number or whatever.
I've just seen 2 interviews surface though as of recent that I had not seen, where he was asked about Roman, the tribal chief. Do you acknowledge him? And both times he is alluded to. Well, one of them he said, "I'm not going to say any names, but you're looking at the tribal chief," and
it could be planting the seeds for it now.
Could be planting the seeds for it now. So that's one that's on my mind. And this one, well, let's look at the answers here real quick. Let's see what people are saying.
You want to put the comments up?
I will attempt.
Go for it.
So I completely disagree with this one. I hope that's a joke.
I really hope that's a troll job.
Bring back Goldberg. No. Strowman.
What's wrong with you guys?
No, Strowman now, if they were to do it right, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but it has to be the right story. You got to really make something. It would be dull as of now. But at least it's believable. That's not the one I wanted.
This is my thoughts on if Goldberg, they put over Goldberg over Roman.
What a miscarriage of justice! What a miscarriage of justice!
I don't know why it's wanting. It's like it's wanting to play 1 or 2 seconds into the clip.
Let's see if I can get this one to show. There it is. I would like to see anybody beat Roman. Oh man.
And his name is
If
John
only if
Cena.
We've already seen it. So you can't see it, but we've already seen it. And I don't know if you do it again, if it's the same. Like, I feel like you've missed your moment if you were going to do it with him. Now, you said WrestleMania 40 next year. I wouldn't mind him breaking the record at WrestleMania 40. If Cena wins, we riot. Can't do Rock versus Roman for the title because he would have to win the Rumble. So I don't know how they're going to do that this year, because here's what I would say. If they're doing 2 nights, you have Roman pull double duty. You have Roman do his title match against the Rumble winner night 1. You have Rock night 2. No title on the line. It's going to be him versus. That's the other thing too. That's another way you could bill it, because Roman technically may or may not even be champion. And the big match is Roman versus The Rock. So you do it for.
Go ahead.
You do it for bloodline supremacy. Who is the tribal chief? Who's representing the family? Who's still the guy? It does not have to worry about a title being on the line. I think it's deeper than that, and that's what I like about how they could build that story.
I will go on record in saying this: I would rather have Cena win it than a lot of other guys. I mean, I'd rather see Cena win it and break the record over Goldberg winning, over Strowman at this point winning it. I mean, because the story's there for for the record. I mean, I don't know. I think
think
there are a lot worse options.
I think for the record books, it's just smart. Cena has the most Make-A-Wish foundations ever, and it probably will never be beat with the amount that he's done and is still doing. With the amount of heat that Ric Flair has taken over the years for different controversies and things, I think it's just smart to make the ultimate superhero that you've created in the past 2 decades the guy that holds that record right now. And I think that's kind of what they're doing with Roman Reigns right now with the title. They're trying to get him up there in the record books as someone who's held the belt for a long period of time. Because when was the last time that major records, that major things have been broken? I think Cena winning and breaking the record is one of those things that needs to happen. So that, and he needs to win the Intercontinental Championship before he retires. That guy should be retiring as a Grand Slam champion.
No arguments from me. So, did you have anything else?
Ric Flair returns for one last match against Roman and wins. Let's put a bow on it there.
That'll work. We'll save some of our questions because I actually had 2 or 3 more. We'll do this segment again in a few weeks. But for now, as always, gonna give you some Lord Alfred Hayes. Maybe. Where's my volume at?
It's quiet.
By the following.
There it is.
What?
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
There we go. Gosh, I don't like the sound bites on StreamYard. I think I'm going to just go back to using my soundboard. But anyway, guys, you can check out the Going Broadway podcast. We are live every Monday night for now at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. I say for now because very likely within the next couple of weeks, we're going to have to switch to a new night just due to really my schedule. If I'm being 100% honest, it's just a crazy time of year right now. And so we'll keep you up to date on that, whether it's through the podcast itself or through our social media platforms. But we'll let you know with confirmation of when we plan to have the podcast. It might be temporarily on a new night, and we might switch back at the beginning of the year. Who knows? But for now, we are live alongside Monday Night Raw. So you can check us out 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, Monday nights on our Facebook page or YouTube channel, as well as our Twitch channel as well. So make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe across all platforms. We are back on Instagram as well. And you know what? I'm going to throw that one up as well while we're talking about it. Cole recreated our Instagram page, so you can check that out. But seriously, guys, please make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, etc. Hit the notifications button so you're alerted when we go live. As far as our social media platforms, we still plan on doing a giveaway at some point as it relates to our Instagram page once we hit a certain threshold. So just make sure you are blanketed across our social platforms. As I mentioned earlier, we do have a Pro Wrestling Tees store. It is prowrestlingtees.com/GoingBrdwyPodcast. We are running a giveaway for that as well, a belt giveaway. So for every shirt that you purchase between now and December 31st, you get one entry to win a belt for a drawing that we're going to have at the beginning of the year. So again, between now and December 31st, 2022, for every shirt you buy off of our Pro Wrestling Tees shop, again, prowrestlingtees.com/GoingBrdwyPodcast, you get one entry into our belt drawing. So you could buy one shirt and get one entry. You could buy 5 shirts and get 5 entries. Buy 20 shirts and get 20 entries. You see how this works. So, but speaking of belts, we do also have a belt raffle going currently on our Facebook page. We've got about 10 openings or 10 spaces, 10 spots, whatever, left open. Hoping to get that closed in time for the Powerball drawing on Wednesday night. So get in on that if you haven't already, or even if you have, get yourself some more spots. So I want to give the floor to Cole to discuss a new aspect of our podcast. We mentioned it last week, but Cole's got some more information for you, and I'll turn it over to him.
Yeah, real quick before I touch on that, I just want to remind you guys, we for the rest of this month on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have a video debuting on YouTube. Right now, they are little clips from our interview with Charlie Haas, and my goal is to have more of those going as we continue. So when those clips drop, if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, you should get the notification. If not, make sure that's clicked on. When it drops, even if you've seen it, share it, post it out there. Let people know that it's that we do these interviews and what we talk about. That helps. It's great exposure for the show. So when you see those drops, share it on your social medias. Give it a like, give it a comment. All those things help. So those are every Tuesday and Thursday for the rest of this month at 9 a.m. They premiere on our YouTube channel for the rest of this month. So I wanted to touch on that. And also on our Instagram, we're trying to get the participation and things going on that. So again, if you could like or follow us on Instagram and start interacting on the posts. We're doing a Wrestler of the Week each week on there. We'll post clips from the show on there. We'll post announcements and different things. And one of the big things that we're getting ready to post on there, we have made the final decision tonight on a date. We are doing our first WWE video game tournament.
2K22.
It's going to be December 3rd. It'll be an all-day event.
Put on your calendars, people.
I will get you an exact starting time once we get the brackets filled out. We are doing one for PlayStation 5, and we are doing one for Xbox One. So there'll be separate brackets for each. I believe we're doing a 16-man tournament on both sides. And you will get, basically doing a constellation bracket. So you will at least get 2 matches. So even if you lose your first match, you will get a second match. You will get a chance to come back and play the winner of the winner's bracket, if you will.
Double elimination.
So that is how it's going to work. So you will get at least 2 matches. So make sure that you're following us on all social medias, because I'll be dropping the brackets. And what you will do is we're going to open it up to our Patreon members first to get their signups in. Entry is going to be $15 a person. So you can pay just like you would for a belt raffle. You'll pay for your slot, and we will put you in on that. And so we'll have, like I said, we'll have one for PS5. We'll have one for Xbox. So you can pick your console, and we'll get your slot. And you will also, when you select, you will get to select your wrestler of choice for the tournament. So this is why Patreon's getting first dibs, because if somebody wants a higher ranked, overall player, I can't control that. They're going to get first dibs, and you'll have to show us how good you are with, who's left. So this will be for both consoles. So December 3rd, mark it on your calendars. We want to give the whole month of November time for people to get signed up. Tell your friends about it. If you know people who play the game, maybe aren't following or watching the podcast on a frequent basis, tell them to sign up, tell them to join. It's going to be a good, fun time. And
just for clarification, that is a Saturday, guys.
Saturday. Yep. So I tried to pick a day where I would hope the most people would be able to participate. And if not, request off work. So December 3rd is the day. And the way I kind of explained last week, the way it would work is you'll need to be in our Discord. So if you're not, make sure that you contact one of us so we can get you in our Discord channel. We have a thread there for gaming. You will be required in each match to stream the match through Twitch. So you'll need a Twitch channel to stream your matches and share the link in our Discord so I can watch your match, make sure everything's being done fairly, all of that good stuff. And then after it's all said and done, we'll get the winners and stuff. So what consoles? PS5, Xbox, you know what it is. Those are the ones that we're doing.
Question, because I don't know this. Not that I'm going to participate, but someone else might have the same question. when you say for Xbox, does that include Xbox 360, Xbox One? Is it?
So it'd be Xbox One. I don't know how it works. I'll have to do some research on this. It'll give me a little bit of time. I think the next generations, they still get put in. They can still play against each other. If I'm wrong on that, someone can correct me, and that'll help decide how I need to go about doing things. We might have to do three brackets.
But it'll be exclusive as far as the PlayStation side. It's only PlayStation 5. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I don't even think they made it for PlayStation 4. So
Okay.
it'll be PlayStation 5, and I'll make sure on Xbox that whether you have the next generation or not, that they're compatible. I believe they are. I will double check that.
And in all seriousness, guys, we want everyone to participate as much as possible. So I know we have a lot of guys that may want to participate in the gaming, but maybe also want to participate in the belt raffles as well. I will not. So Cole's in charge of the gaming side. I'm in charge of the belt raffles. I will just say this now. We will not have any more belt raffles all after the one that is out there currently. Once this one's filled up, we will not do another one until after the gaming tournament's over. So if you normally participate in the belt raffles, but think your funds might be tight in terms of doing both, go ahead, plan on participating in the gaming tournament. We will not do any more belt raffles after the one that is out there currently fills up. We won't have another one until December.
Okay, well, let me ask this because you guys are all saying it. So if you have a PS, because I don't have PlayStation, so everything's all on your guys' end to do it. Can PS4 play against a PS5 player if they're invited? If it's a match, a lobby, because I have to create. Basically, you have to create a lobby and then invite people to it. Are you able to invite PlayStation 5 people to play with you, or is it a PS4 server only? Because I believe on Xbox Next Gen can still play with the regular Xbox One console. So if anyone knows that, comment that in there for me because I won't be able to figure that out. Or maybe if someone in here has a PlayStation 5 and someone in here has a PS4, maybe y'all could get together and try to host a match against one another just to see if it would even work. If not, I will make separate brackets for each console. So I will make one for PS5, same with Xbox. And we'll be opening this up to Facebook groups too. So again, just because they don't follow and watch the chat very often or at all doesn't mean that a first-time listener or someone who's never watched before can't join and play in this tournament. We open it. It's going to be open to everybody. We're going to give our viewers and our Patreon members first dibs, though. So you guys will get first dibs before I announce it out to anybody else. That's why you're going to want to lock your spot and your wrestler of choice in. And that's why I'm giving us over a month to promote this and get it out there to other people. So, but if anyone can answer the PlayStation question, even if you message me on Discord, just let me know if you find out if PS4 and PS5 are compatible to play against one another. That would be a huge help. So we will be doing that, though, December 3rd. We'll have a tournament, and I will make the proper adjustments as we go along. And I will say this. The further you go in the tournament, there may just be some stipulation matches. It may not just be a normal match. You never know. We'll throw some curveballs in there. So get to playing, get to practicing, get yourself ready because it's coming December 3rd.
Yeah, and guys, stay up to date on our we'll probably get to the point where, Discord will be our primary method of relaying information to you guys. Like Cole said, there's a $15 fee, and it is not refundable. So if you guys are going to participate, it's important that you know that you have a good, solid internet connection, because if for whatever reason, you get dropped, you forfeit the match. It is what it is. So, secondly,
okay. I'm reading here. Okay. So you guys are saying that next gen, or that the same console can play against each other. They just can't play against Xbox. So that's what I thought. Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So PlayStation 5 can play against PlayStation 4, and Xbox One can play against Xbox One new gen or whatever. So
yeah, sorry
perfect.
to clarify, I could have answered that. I know that you can't PS5 against someone playing Xbox is not.
I
is
knew
not a
that,
thing.
but I
Yeah.
was curious if PS4 could play PS5. They're saying you can, so we will do 2 brackets then, one for PlayStation, one for Xbox.
Yep. So again, $15 non-refundable fee. Like I said, no more belt raffles after the one currently. So feel free to save your pennies if you want to participate that maybe you normally would have thrown at the belt at a belt raffle and jump in on this. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. Saturday, December 3rd. Second thing I was going to say is make sure you have your own Twitch channel. Like Cole said, that's going to be a requirement for anybody that participates so that he can monitor the matches, make sure everything's fair, legit, etc. But again, I can't stress this enough. Make sure that you have a good, solid internet connection before you agree to participate. I don't think I think we covered everything. Just stay up to date on our Discord, our social media platforms.
Let me just shut this down right now. I am not participating in the tournament, mainly because I will be needed to watch several matches. I don't want to be responsible for having to also be in 1 or 2 or however many matches, however far I would be able to go. So, eventually I'll get to play with some of you guys because we'll be doing some just random get together matches throughout the coming months. But, yeah.
Cool. Well, let's do this. I know we're kind of getting short on time. We generally try to keep these at close to an hour, hour and a half max. We were going to do a GBP top 10 tag team segment. Let's table that for next week. Just because we're short on time, and that'll give us something to talk about next week. But I want to go straight to our Halloween Havoc predictions, which is this upcoming Saturday, I believe. I want to get this pulled up. Oh, by the way, something funny I wanted to throw out there. Free meet and greet. That's right, free with Tony Khan. Thursday, October 20th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 Central Time, prior to the Rampage taping. A free meet and greet.
So how much will you pay me to go to that?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Thomas, how dare you? No, I'm just playing. Thomas is one of our big supporters too. So like Andrew, he's entitled to say whatever he wants within reason. So yeah, for anyone that wants to meet Tony Khan for free, Thursday, October 20th at Daly's place, apparently. Okay. I'm confused. I thought it was in Ohio this week.
It is.
So why does it say Daly's place?
He's not going. Well, Rampage is taped though.
I don't know. Whatever. I just thought it was funny. Free meet and greet with Tony Khan. Like I just feel like they're getting desperate at this point. Anyway.
Oh, interesting. Baron Corbin on Raw. Okay.
I kind of figured. I mean, JBL was rumored to kind of be paired with him, so I thought it was just a matter of time.
We'll see.
All right.
Halloween Havoc predictions.
Halloween Havoc predictions, indeed.
Let's get it.
In no particular order. Spin the wheel, make the deal. To be determined match. Apollo Crews against Grayson Waller. Now, we in no way, shape, or form could we predict the stipulation because Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal has literally like 20 or 30 stipulations on it. So, I don't know. Who you think?
Let's just say it's going to have a stipulation, though. So it's going to be no DQ. Like, yeah. It's.
You froze up again. That's it. Kicking him out. Are you back with us?
Am I back?
Okay. Yeah. I just booted you.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Apollo Crews, Grayson Waller, who you got?
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to go with Apollo Crews. I don't think he's had a big win yet in NXT. I think he needs one. I'm going to go Apollo Crews.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say Grayson Waller. And really it's just for the sake of being different, because I've said this before, I don't watch a whole lot of NXT. So I really don't
it's
have
not a bad
any.
pick. I think it's really a 50-50.
I don't have any basis for my pick. I don't have a basis for this pick either. I'm just going to pick one. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Weapons Wild match. Roxanne Perez against Cora Jade.
So this one's interesting because Cora Jade should be on Monday Night Raw tonight.
Which
and
she
they had
is.
they
She
had
actually has
Roxanne,
been. I think she was already on it.
and they had Roxanne Perez fight a match on SmackDown, and she picked Raquel Rodriguez to be her mystery opponent for tomorrow night. So I think it's interesting because they have both of them on a Monday or a SmackDown. They're having them on the flagship shows.
Looks like for what it's worth, looks like we're getting Roxanne against Rhea Ripley on NXT tomorrow.
I figured that was coming because she even said on last NXT's episode that Rhea wanted her to come to Raw. So that makes sense. So I'm wondering if one of them or both of them is about to get a call up. Because why have them like wrestle matches on SmackDown and Raw?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna. I think they're really big on Roxy. I think I'm gonna say Roxanne Perez.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say Roxanne also. Ambulance match. Julius Creed against Damon Kemp. If Julius loses, Brutus Creed will have to leave NXT. Not both Creed brothers, just Brutus.
This is where it gets interesting though, because Legado del Fantasma wasn't out of NXT. Just Escobar was, and they all left and went to SmackDown.
That's true.
So is this a way to write them out of NXT and onto a main roster, or is this not that? I'm going to say I don't think they've put a very good bow on this storyline. I'm going to say Julius Creed gets the win.
I am also. It just doesn't make sense at this point to have the Creed brothers leave NXT, at least not yet, in my opinion.
And I don't want them to over debut. Like they've had a lot of people return and do stuff on SmackDown.
Right.
I don't want it to become that AEW we're always looking for a pop thing. So I'm going to say
Agreed.
Say Julius.
Mandy Rose defending the NXT Women's Championship against Alba Fire. Is it Fire? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Alba Fire.
Okay.
Hashtag
is this where she?
Kaylee
Is this
Ray.
where? Yeah, exactly. Is this where Mandy finally loses the belt?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say Alba Fire gets the win. I think they need to move Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction all together up to the main roster. I think they've eclipsed everything they can do in the women's division in NXT. So
I think you've sold me on the fact that they I was on the fence about it, and I think you sold me on Alba just because I agree. I don't know what else you can do at this point with that group on NXT. So I agree. I think Alba wins it here, and we see Toxic Attraction on Raw or SmackDown. I guess we covered all the other ones. Triple threat match for the NXT Championship. Braun against Ilya Dragunov against JD, however you pronounce his last name.
McDonough. I don't know. The thing that's throwing me here.
This is interesting. Roderick turns on the Creed brothers and aligns with Damon. I mean, I guess that's Brian. I guess that's what you're saying.
Well, because he got attacked by Damon Kemp, but he was already kind of against them. I don't know.
I'm sticking with my prediction, but not a bad take.
Okay, so back to the triple threat. The thing that's throwing me is that it's a triple threat, which means technically you could have Braun Breaker protected and still lose the belt and move him along on his merry little way to SmackDown or Raw and not hurt his character. Also, they've already done JD McDonough versus just Braun. And we know that Ilya Dragunov is capable of holding a belt and being entertaining and having great matches. Do I see 2 title changes?
I'll just say mine. I don't. I think Braun retains here.
Okay, so let me ask you this real quick before I answer. Who can beat Braun Breaker? Who's on the roster?
Oh, I skipped over the NXT North American title match. Gosh.
Oh, we'll
Okay.
come back to that. We'll come
Yeah.
back to it. I guess outside of Carmelo Hayes, who else is there on the roster that
Outside of
hasn't-
Carmelo, nobody. And I think that actually plays into my prediction for the ladder
your
match.
pick? Okay. So that's tough because their next pay-per-view probably not be until Royal Rumble weekend. Okay, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna say Braun Breaker retains.
Okay. And then the NXT North American Championship match. Carmelo is defending. Oh, wait. No, it's vacant. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Carmelo against Oro Mensa, if I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing that correctly.
Or Mensa.
Against Wes Lee versus Von Wagner versus Nathan Fraser.
Well, first off, I gotta say Nathan Frazier and Axiom, they did a best of 3 series, and that last match was phenomenal. I think they're really trying to push Wes Lee though, and they're trying to put some credibility to him on his own. I'm gonna say Wes Lee wins the North American title.
Okay. I'm actually gonna go with Nathan. Is it Fraser or Frazier?
Nathan Frazier.
Okay. I'm going Nathan Frazier. Why? Just because. And so far it's just those 6 matches. I wouldn't be surprised if that's all they stick with is just those 6 matches. So again, guys, I apologize due to time. We're not going to do our top 10 tag teams. We'll save that for next week. Something to look forward to. But unfortunately, for tonight, it's about that time. Cole, any final thoughts?
Guys, as always, the greatest wrestling podcast ever. If for some reason you're looking to have some more content to watch tonight, you guys can go check out my buddy here at Oxen Brand Music. They are on Twitch. They have an interview tonight, so you can go check them out. And it's a great, entertaining, fun show. So you can go give them a watch. I'll be hopping in there here in a few. So check them out. Don't forget about all of our social medias. You can subscribe, follow, like. Make sure you hit the notifications. Become a Patreon member. Support us. Subscribe on Twitch. Support us. Go to our Pro Wrestling Tees. Support us. And don't forget, we have our video game tournament starting December 3rd. And you can get all the information on that through our Discord to start for now. We'll be posting in that with more info to come here in the next day or two. So make sure you're doing all that. Follow us on Instagram. Don't forget, tomorrow we have another Charlie Haas clip debuting on our YouTube channel. So make sure you like, share, all that stuff on that. Than that, I'm going to go eat me some dinner. So I'll leave you with you guys with your favorite thing in the entire world.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next Monday night.